Greetings. Listen, Google just released the Material 3 Expressive UI kit, and I am here for it. Today is going to be more discussing my view on it, the interpretations around it, and all of that. And I'm super excited. So if that's your jam like it is mine, come join the fun because this will be a good one. Greetings, I'm Anticio Duke, a product design strategist from Chicago, Illinois, and I'm here to help you level up your design game so that you can build better, more amazing products that people really want to use. Now, today we're going to talk about something amazing. Google just launched it. It's the Material 3 UI kit, and it is something that has been wowing designers and those within the industry alike. There are a series of design guidelines that each platform puts out so that you have to adhere to them in order to design good products for them. For example, Android and Google devices have the materials guidelines, which is open source and usable on their platform. Whereas for iPhone users, iPad and those alike, they have the Apple's HIG guidelines. Those two guidelines and documents are vital when it comes to designing for the products and for understanding what limitations you have when you're creating for each. This gives you a guide to design for them. And then you can kind of be flexible or a little bit creative as to how you want to deviate slightly or adjust based on those limitations. So we'll leave it at that. Material design, this open source library was released back in 2014. So we're looking at a decades old archived version of guidelines. Now, since then, it's released Material 1, Material 2 over time to let you know it has been evolving. But this one is an entire shift from where they originally were. And I think it largely has to do with AI, which is a really good way and a basis for why you should be ever evolving. Now, let's dive into it. If you land on their actual website, I'm just going to dive into my computer here. You're going to see things related to expressive design. Now, this basically communicates exactly what they're doing. They're trying to add emotion and feeling into their UI kits. So you'll see a lot of different colors. You'll see a lot of motion, animation, and even some micro interaction that has been integrated in it, which is a huge departure from their rigid style of the past. I think it's something to be said about their actual design fundamentals is some of the reasons as to why they did it. Now, what I want to lean in on is the UX fundamentals. Why? Because those are really good principles to make sure that this is usable across different products and for the people who really want to use them or who need access. And some of the things they're really taking into consideration is accessibility, allowing people to navigate, understand, utilize the UI. That is huge because it doesn't restrict access to anyone. Now, one is huge. You honor individuals. Now, that says to me, you are taking into account individuality. You're customizing this for the needs and the experience that people want. And that is huge because in an age where AI agents and this kind of far dissonance between human connection is happening, you really want to meet their needs where they are. Really good principle to live by. The next one that they have is learn before, not after. And I think that's really huge, especially when you're thinking through solutions for design problems. Many times we build experiments to just test ideas and then learn from the result of that. I think that still has value. But in this case, they're saying, hey, approach this with a lens of learning before, anticipate those potential things, and give slight adjustments to account for those things rather than wait to get the results and then take action when the problem arises. That's a little bit of a different mind shift for those who aren't used to experimenting, who aren't used to adapting accordingly. So that I think is huge, and it's something to be said about a life lesson as much as it is a design principle. And then one thing that they list here too is requirements as a starting point. I hold true to this in my design agency, where we understand those requirements and we sign off on things that we know to be true or we have expectations on. Learning what it is we'll be tackling is vital, because you'll have scope creep where things can balloon outside of what is being expected. Then you'll also have things that just shift and take shape as the project continues. So I think that is really, really huge. Let's shift gears here and go into the motion side, because this is an expressive UI kit. You're going to see a lot of motion. We talked about that earlier, and it's actually expressive. So what's huge about this is they're saying interactions are key in this situation, meaning it's supposed to feel more of a functional UI kit. So there's functional bounce to utilitarian apps and products. There is a fluid motion that happens when it comes to springs and this sort of natural predictability of snappiness. And you're starting to see a lot of that in the actual design files. It's like a wealth of knowledge here when it comes to sliders and different UI kits. They want it to feel fast, things that will allow you to feel as opposed to just be utilitarian. And that's great as long as it adheres to the context in which you're using. A lot of these things you can dive in deep on your own in terms of what it's doing or what it will do for the product that you build, but I think that's huge too. Now, if we jump into the development side, they're looking at doing things for Android, for Flutter. I don't want this video to get too long, but my initial impressions on this particular UI kit, I think it's actually great. As I mentioned earlier, there's a huge difference between what they used to do and the confines that they had in their system, and then what they're trying to do. Now, I like micro interactions. I like adaptation. I like the adjustments, the hiding, the showing, the revealing, and the fluidness of their elements. I even like the sort of element where they have split calls to action, meaning you can add a CTA on one side and maybe another one on a separate side. It's like a split button is what they're calling it. I think that is good because it can allow you to do more things and have some flexibility around just a call to action alone. I also really, really enjoy these styles. I think it feels more organic, more natural. There's more of a playfulness that's integrated into it between the typography and the shapes that you're starting to see. One thing that is drawing pause is how it will scale across different products. You'll start to see this show up in mobile apps alike, but in what way? I think it has the potential to do wonders. I also believe that there are folks who will overuse it and use it in contexts that will make it understandably daunting to try. Those things have yet to be seen, and I don't know if that'll translate across every product. There are a variety of devices that this can take shape in, and I do see a world where some of that can get lost in translation and can bypass the original meaning and the goals in which this was designed for. Overall, I think it was needed. It was required given the state of things. Instead of taking an approach to say AI and these tools and agents that we are talking about every day, all day, and the disconnect that we have between human to human, as technology advances, I think this is a good way to sort of bring that back in and sort of collectively give some humanistic side to it. So I'm excited for that. And for those of you who are out there who want to create apps and sort of use building blocks like open source things like this, it's a really good starting point. Those are my initial impressions. I still need to dive in a little bit deeper into it, but right now this thing is amazing. I'm sure there will be more on this from the Google team. I'm sure there's going to be folks out there and designers who will explore a little bit more and stretch the limitations of these things. But right now, it is amazing and it's good to see. I'm here for it. It's Material 3, so m3material.io. Two things to note. One, they do have in the footer, they do have archived versions. So you can take a look at what 2 was, what 1 was, and compare and see. Obviously, you'll see a huge shift. I do believe it's good to understand that. That way you know how it evolved. But this one is a really good one to take note of. Second thing is for you users who are out there building with no-code apps. You want to start to take a look at these guides so that you have a better understanding of what design patterns are being used instead of trying to think outside the box to create elements that have so much research, so much investment done into the patterns and the psychology behind them. Use these as a guiding light to get started. If you need help, click the link. I can help you and show you. Otherwise, explore on your own time. Do yourself a favor, check out a little bit more of what Google has to offer. Also, look at some of their devices themselves. You'll start to get a feel for how they're using styles, colors, their brand elements in them, and it'll give you a little bit more context as well. So I think that's all. I'm super excited about this and want to do a little bit more so that I can experiment with some of the elements and actions in which it's calling out for. Okay, that's it. In the meantime, in between time, your life has color. So make sure you design it that way. And if you aren't subscribed, please do to help grow the community and give you a little bit more of context around design, strategy, principles, all that life stuff. And we'll see you in the next one. Take care.